All right, we're live. Okay. Here we go. Talking 94 flag here with the dogs. Okay, and we're ready. All right, welcome back, Lofty 88.9 FM. We're also live on the Huddle Reformed live stream on Facebook. Share that if you'd like to, and I'll post it on Call of the Wild shortly. I'll pop out. But in the meantime, Pistols, big weekend coming up for Onkaparinga Valley Football Club as they look back 30th anniversary in the A-grade premiership. All going well. Hopefully they can break that drought shortly. But yeah, got a couple of special guests in the house.
Yeah, absolutely. We're honoured and privileged to have two of the members of that team. Doesn't seem like 30 years ago, as we're talking off here. But, well, he's now the president. Shane Collins has joined us, and also the man who took the market essential. We'll get to that soon. Simon, the Farmer Masters, joins us. Great to have you, boys.
Thanks. Thanks, boys. Good to see you.
Now, I think we talked about this 10 years ago. Maybe the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
But just... looking back, what a special time it must have been for the footy club.
Yeah.
For both
you go, mate. Lead it off.
Yeah, obviously it was. We were both obviously quite young at that stage. We were obviously competitive in Colts. Shane went off to town and played a bit there. And we managed to get him back with a few other lads. And we were lucky enough in 94 to get across the line.
Yeah, it was probably... it's interesting. You reflect on it now. I was the youngest player in the team.
Yeah.
And I just come back and you play in a grand final and you go, how good's this? Like, how many more of these am I going to win? And, you know, to be fair, now I look back and I just didn't probably take it for granted. I took it a bit for granted about it. And then, just an amazing memory. Just amazing. And you actually, you know, you see clubs win them and you'd actually like to grab them and just go, just hang on a sec. Understand what you've just done. It just changes your life forever for those people that you play with, and yeah, it's great to reflect and really exciting week for the club being president. But it's great to reflect back on that. Sadly, we're not a club that's inundated with heaps of these, so we do celebrate it.
And of course, you have a special thing, farmers. We said the market essential, which we'll get to. But also unique situation of father and son playing premierships for Onkaparinga Valley Footy Club, because your dad Warren was in that the memorable win over Heathwood Allgate 1978 and of course in 1994.
Yes, that's right. And got my son sitting behind me and two other boys that play underage, so maybe they get into the third one. So that's probably the aim.
Now we'll talk about the joy of winning it in a minute, Shane, but it was tinged with a touch of controversy because I've done a bit of research here on it. But, there's a little article about the finding of the Onkaparinga Valley Football Club for training on the grand final venue, which is Loberthorpe Oval. Would you like to, as Jade and Joe say, take us through that?
Again, you know, just playing fun and games, and how you can be fined for going on a community oval, I'm not sure. But anyway, we were back then, but we were happy to pay the fine. I actually can't even remember training there that night, but we obviously did. Day, was it?
Saturday.
Oh, that's right, the week before, wasn't it? Yeah.
Like there wasn't any blind spots in the pocket at night you could run away.
Yeah, no, exactly, mate. Yeah. Made sure I measured how wide the wings were and the flanks, and no, it was. Look, it is what it is. And look, Jimmy Lou was as our coach, and he was. I look back now, Jimmy, and it's wonderful that he's coming along this week. He's survived a real big health scare a couple of years ago, and it's wonderful that we'll get him back. But he was just, we got him straight out of SNFL, state footy from Glenelg, and he was an inspirational leader for us. And I was only talking the other day, you know, when Jimmy was coaching us back in the 90s, like he was shirt and tie every week, and he was really, really professional with that sort of stuff. So the fact that we went and trained there and got fined, I think he would have just ticked that off as part of the process, and in the end, it didn't really matter, I suppose.
Bit different from when you were coaching, mate, as an A-grade coach at one of those on your arse hanging out of your tracksuit. So Jimmy Standard didn't...
don't be like that. No, we were all about standards. And, Actually, I was just thinking then, I reckon we trained at Lobe leading up to that. Oh, it might have been at Colts when I was coaching. We went up to Lobe, I reckon, on the Thursday night. We never got fined, but maybe...
I'll just take down memory lane. This article from the Courier. The $500 fine imposed by the Hills Football League on the Onkaparinga Valley Football Club for training on Loberthorpe over 1 week before the grand final without HFL permission may be reviewed. HFL President David Fechner said the board did not hold the Onkaparinga Valley Football Club responsible for comments by Warren Masters in the Courier because, quote, he holds no official position with the club and knows where his own personal comments. I don't know what he said.
Oh, he was only the president. So.
Since the decision to train was taken by the Onkaparinga Valley Football Club match committee without the knowledge of the club's
Well,
senior
fair
committee,
enough. Fair enough.
Management Fechner said that Onkaparinga Valley took appropriate action against those concerned. And the HFL was satisfied with action. The fine would be reviewed. So Warren get a little smack on the bottom.
Yeah, that
I
was.
remember it.
No, I don't go.
The fine.
Yeah, don't have a great deal of memory for it, but actually $500 back then—that's a lot of money.
Yes.
Thinking about that, I mean, it was a long time ago.
More than $500 taken on that night after the grand final. I expect the kennel would have been pumping.
Oh, just some of the greatest memories. We just had a recent holiday as a group of boys and mates, and we still talk about it now, like how funny it was and how many great memories we made back there. And you know, as I said before, you only hope the players of today can cherish those moments and remember them forever. And it was an amazing few days.
The archive, their thing will get him hold it up for us.
Yeah, there you go. So. It was
Now,
good
game
fun.
day, if I recall, Bridgewater had finished minor premiers under the great Potts.
Yes.
I think it was a win second semi at Harndorf, and you stooged him by 4 points, I think, because Potts was told not to play a tall forward line, but didn't listen to some astute people, because you got him. And then Bridgie beaten in the preliminary final at Mount Barker.
Leicester got him after on the siren.
So
and Bridgie were the best team that year. To be fair, they were and just touch on that. It's just a sad state of affairs where their club is at. We went there last week. I feel really sorry for what's happened to them. Just on a side note, and I really wish them all the best moving forward, and hope they can survive what they're in. We played them in the Seas the other week, and we're over there. But back then, they were strong, very good side, and that. In '94, and playing there, they were tough and hard. And Julian Snowden, Shane McDonald, Big Dringy, all those boys. They were the best team. And
I know some of the guys have said in their times, and some of the footballers you mentioned, they were pretty good footballers. They said that's the best Bridgewater side that they played, even though they played in the '93 grand final and the '90, of course, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were.
During the year, they beat us by 20 goals.
Yeah,
right.
Wow.
Yeah, they did. They belted us once that year. They were very good. Bots Hallhand run around for them. They had a very, very good side, and we got them at Harndorf, and that was the big thing for us was to have the week off, and we obviously thought we'd go train at Lobie.
Yes.
It was. I remember Darryl Pearce played really well in that game because it was a bit. He was brilliant. And a funny thing for his size and what he was, he played out in the wing, but he just ran all day and just wore him away. And he played super that day. And I remember that got us through. And we didn't go to the game the week later. We obviously trained at Lobie, and we got the mail through that that Harndorf had won it on the siren. It was like, wow, Bridgie had gone. So it was funny how that worked out.
You're on the Huddle Reformed, 88.9 FM, and also being live streamed, and we're joined by Shane Collins and Simon Farmer Masters. What would you say, veterans now, boys? Survivors of the 1994.
Yes.
Okay, so you're off to play Harndorf. I think you've played them a couple of times, a 1992 grand final, and then perhaps 93 you were supposed to, Bridgewater upset them. Play in the grand final, so it's up again. I think if I'm right, you played them again in '95. So
yes, we did.
A little bit of a big, huge rivalry. So at that stage, the two powerhouse sides of the comp are coming together once again. So just can you remember the day, the nerves, or what was said, or plans that were laid?
Not really. What I remember, it was a nice day. We'd been chasing it since '92, so probably been going after it for 3 years. So we were pretty settled and pretty ready to go. We'd obviously had a change of a few players, but certainly the core of us were certainly chasing it, and that's what I remember of the day. More relief than anything, because we had been chasing it for 3 years.
Well, things start off really well, because about 5 minutes in the game, I can just get Thing to help us out again. That takes 5 minutes into the game. Mark of the century, that was last century, but drifted into this
century. Yes.
So, just any recollection of that?
Not really. Obviously, I've seen the photo a lot. And
sits above his bedhead.
I mean, you're talking about Moorcroft, you're talking about Modra.
Yeah.
Lived on it for 30 years, but I guess the ball come down. Not a bad first touch, and set the standard away we went.
Yeah, you were standing the great BJ Yates. You were
Yes,
nice,
stood him all
one
those
goal for
years,
the game.
yes.
So that was your
Yeah.
little focus to cut him out the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was really important what Farmer did. Final day, their forward line was amazing. Cumming?
Yeah, Michael Cumming.
Oh, he was a great player, wasn't he? And they had a really good, and obviously Leicester and all that. And
Randall Pearce.
Randall Pearce pushed forward there, but Farmer and the guy that ended up being a Hahndorf player, Jason Tolk, he was valuable for us back there. And Matty Burns played centre half back.
Packed in here on the grassy knoll.
It was a massive day.
Yeah, the input of you two people, I think TG, the great TG, was doing the premiership points. So, Benny, if you do us the honours
Take us through it.
the ratings of...
All right, number 2, Scott Humphreys, arguably his best for the season, 3 out of 5. Number 3, Jason Murray, ding-dong battle on the wing, he got 2. Number 5, Noel Hartman, flash down flanks with speed, 2. Roger Wilson, number 6, quiet until damaging late burst, 2. The great man Shane Collins, dashing flanker with thrilling skills.
What sort of
3.
flanker? Dashing. I like it.
Young Tate's having a laugh at his stats.
Number 8, Simon Hall, injury couldn't quell his bulldog spirit. He got 2. Number 9, Darren Visser, showed his Norwood magic. He got 4. 11, Scott Harrington, waited in the wings for his chance. He got 1. Chris
Gahadi.
There we go.
Fritter.
Another all-in game from Fritz. He got 3. Simon Kemp, number 15, ever dangerous at centre-half forward, got 3. Darryl Langbean, played role in Onka's ruck, number 2. He got 2. Simon Masters, mark of the day, if not the century. Rebounded strongly, he got 4. Good stuff. Darryl Pearce, always the master behind the scenes, 3. Andrew Horn, played the game his team wanted, which is important, 3. Jason Morgan, like Harrington, waited for his chance and got 1. Craig Paschke found the footy and used it well, 3. Ian Connolly, Uradler's loss is Onka's game, 3. Matthew Burns, another tidy defensive game, 3. Brett Norman, a danger for Hahndorf around goals, 2. And Jason Tolk, as we've mentioned. The incredible Tolk showed his worth. He got 3. And just quickly, Hahndorf's best-rated player was Jason Duffield. He tagged Wilson close to best of field. He got 4.
What at number 18? What's it say about him?
Brenton Yench. One BJ would rather forget. There you go.
Hey, that side that read out some great names there, not only for Onka Valley but also in Hills footy. Was that side much the nucleus it had been for the 3 years that you'd sort of been together and just pushing towards the ultimate?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I think 3 or 4 maybe changes in and out of 92, 93 and 94, yeah.
Yeah, obviously 92, 3, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Still coming and watching all the time, but 94 I come back in about round 4, I reckon it was, and played for the rest of the year. But there'd been some small change, but I think early 90s, we spoke before about Warren Masters. He did a great job in getting Darren and Scott Visser up to the club, and that was the nucleus of the strength that got us going, to be honest. Roger and Noel come from the River Murray League. We lost, obviously, Scott Visser in 94. He didn't play. But
Roger Wilson won the Mole medal.
Oh, we're only talking the other day. Like, I think he's the best player I certainly ever played with, and he could stand still and dummy 5 blokes. Like, he was just amazing how he'd get out of traffic, and he wouldn't look at the goals; he'd just kick them. And he was a freak of a player, Roger. And and you think Hills Footy League, and to be a forward, you got to be powerful, And you look back over the last 20 years, all the key forwards in the Hills have been all big, powerful, good markers, good leaders, and all that. But he was a dashing half forward flanker who had amazing hands and amazing skills, and he was just an absolute treat to play against, and a big reason why we got the chockies that day.
This just springs to mind. I think about this time, I was in year 1 at Littlehampton Primary School, and I had Mrs. Ansberg as a teacher.
There you go.
And I remember the dogs just had this, I don't know, maybe then I was picking up on teams, and they had a real presence about them, just kind of flicking through the courier and that sort of stuff. What was it about the dogs during that time that made them such a strong powerhouse?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, for me, I come back and it was just like glue. Like everything just clicked. You go to. I mean, obviously coached years after that. You never had that. Like when I went back to Onkers in that time, and you could probably speak a bit more about it, but we just had that connection. Like you just knew, like, his back line, we just knew that six was just strong. Up forward, we just knew Kempy was going to lead, give us a contest. Rog was just a freak. I could just sit out wide and wait for anything that spilled out there. But, we had good dashes all over the place. Daryl Sounder Langbein, local lad, ruck, first ruck. He took on Julian Snowden, Randall Pearce, some of the biggest, best ruckmen going around in the competition. He just beat them every week and just gave his all. We just had a connection, and it was a really strong. I think it's a really hard thing to do is to get that. And when you got it, you probably, you got to try and nurture it as much as you can. But you just had trust in everyone, and everyone loved go to training, and we just had a really good culture.
John, any thoughts on backing up Colo there about that Dogs team?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's just, it took 3 years, but we built. Obviously, a lot of my mates still to this day, we played together then. We played junior Colts, we played senior Colts. So, yeah, we had a good core of local lads, I suppose, and then we just added the 2 or 3 other lads. The Visa boys come in 92. Wayne Tanner, we were bottom. I played, my first A-grade game was when I was actually under 17s, and I played against Harndorf. We lost 30 goals to like 2 when I played my first game, and the next year we made the grand final. So we got all those ex-league players in, Chuck Bailey and that, and they just changed the club straight away. And then from that, obviously a good core of young players together. And then, we were strong for, those good 4 or 5 years then. Yeah.
Now, it was just pre-Alec Parker best on ground presentation medal.
That's a good point. I was thinking about this the other day, because I don't reckon
players here, because Best was the man next to me. Rated by.
No, I think on the day they gave Darren Visitor the
Yeah,
best,
they
and
did.
then at the footy club, and then the Courier, they gave me the best.
Yeah,
Worst
yeah.
man
A
out
bit
quote you
short
want.
change there.
Yeah. Speaking of short change, it does say in the goal kickers that I may have only kicked 2 goals. I'm here to tell you on the replay, and I'll show it again on the replay, and I'll show it again on Saturday. I actually kicked 3. So there's a few of us have been shortchanged.
That is significant, because it would make you, instead of being the 4th equal highest goal kicker in Onkers winning grand final, you'd be equal 3rd.
3rd, exactly.
Phil Howard kicked about 7 against United. And
that's right. That's right. So
Roger Wilson with 4. Hey, tell us about that. He'd been well held. He was moved to the forward line in the last quarter and kicked 3 goals.
Who was that? Sorry,
Roger Wilson.
Yeah. No, it was.
Jason moved off him.
Yeah.
Went into the centre.
No, that's right. It was sort of crunch time for them. They needed to do something to win, and Rod just got loose. I actually, a bit later on, it's very much like Darren Jarman with the Crows grand final. Like he just stood up in the last quarter and kicked some beautiful goals.
Quality football.
It was just going to be his moment, and the whole day he had to work hard, but come later in the game, things just opened up for him, and he kicked some great goals late in the game, get us over the line.
I know it's a long time ago. Farm was saying you can't remember what you had for breakfast, but at half time it was 6-6 to 5-2. So you just got your nose in front. You got it halfway through the second quarter, hit the front. You weren't to surrender it, but can you sort of recall what Jimmy said at half time? You had your nose in front, and this is the best chance we're ever going to have, because obviously you and Harndorf the big rivalry.
Yeah, I certainly.
Or your own thoughts that you could.
I can't, and this is the bit that gets me. Being the youngest, is I forget.
Yeah.
I just take it a bit for granted, and I think I've told you the story before about '95 being the coming out and winning in '94 and going to the '95 grand final, and just took it all for granted. I remember, and I've told you the story about when I turned up and I said I was just chatting to Jason Duffield and said, "How you going, mate? 3 bags full before the game," and he was actually going to stand me, and we were chatting away, and Richard Hill. That's right, Jason put his hand out and said, "Good luck, mate." And Richard Hill popped his head around the corner and just pointed at me and just goes, "He does not mean it." And I was like, "Oh, whatever." And they come out and smashed us. And it was like, "Oh, wow, this is what this is about." So it actually, all of that stuff I just took for granted too much because I was so young. And, Simon might know a bit more, think a bit more about it, but he's only a year older than me, to be fair. So we were all pretty young at that time and took it a bit for granted.
Very similar. Yeah, correct. Exactly. I played Colts footy, made the finals every time, made a grand final in senior Colts, and then obviously played in 92. So always competitive. So then when we won one, we probably thought, this is easy and we'll win some more in the next 10 years. And we never ever did.
No, 95 was, coming off grade of 94. 95 was embarrassing. It was one of the worst games, well, certainly in my time I played in and played. And yeah, that one actually sticks with you pretty hard because we were the best team in '95. Yes. To be fair, we from '94 winning it, when we were best team in '95, and we were probably favourites to win it, and we didn't. And that it still hurts a bit, to be fair, and played so bad, and just took it all for granted being so young. But that's what happens.
So here we are, 30 years on. Obviously, they've had a couple of bites at the cherry. Said '95 the following year, trying to go back to back. And then, you as a coach, you took them, 2003?
Three.
I reckon it was 3.
Yep.
And of course, Dingo 10, I think 2019, a very
Yep.
good effort. As Onka's blokes, red, white, and blue flows through your veins, is it disappointing and can put your finger on why you blokes are still the last premiership players at Balhana?
You go, Farm. I've probably got a different view now, being president and being coach. But
I probably it's more family orientated, relaxed, happy to be competitive, but probably haven't got the killer instinct to win games. I was lucky enough to play 1 year at Imps in '96.
Yeah, sure.
And their club culture was certainly totally different. They expected to win a grand final every 4 years and win one every 4 years and playing one every second year. And that was, when that didn't happen, things changed straight away. Players, people were not happy.
Blake told me, Shane, if you can win a very good football, Blake told me if you can win a flag once a decade, you're doing all right. As you said, they wanted to win one every couple of years. But, I know I'm not putting you on the spot. But, it's a lot what Simon is saying.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Was it a more
relevant.
dog eat dog situation back then? Football was a lot different than what it is now.
Of course it was. Society's so different now.
Yeah.
From where I sit now, being president, I often talk, you've got to be a little bit balanced with it, and there's many aspects that tick the box of success now in football clubs. And while we'd love to win premierships, don't get me wrong, that's what, at the end of the day, that's the thing that stays with you ever, and why we're so excited about this weekend. But now I sit in a footy club with, my 13-year-old son in the background, and I know that, our footy club's strong. We've got a wonderful junior program. We've got amazing coaches, volunteers. We're averaging well over 100 meals every Saturday night. We've got amazing people around our club. It's a safe environment. We're doing a heap of work in the background to have better facilities and better conditions for our community and our young kids coming through. And, for me, sitting on the committee and talking to people, there's a lot of success there for us in that space. I'm not saying we're not trying to win flags. We have, without talking out of school, we've tried our absolute best to bring quality recruits into our club to play with our juniors we bring through, and for reasons obviously many people can work out, we don't land them. You've got to be in the game, and you've got to be, it's one of the saddest things that's happened in country football since the initiation of the salary cap. Is it's double penalised many clubs. We're not the only one, but it's a tough market, and just this year we spoke to 30 odd players about coming to the club and helping us out, and you get so far down the track with them, and then you run into the speed hump that you can't get over, and what do you do? So we've just got to revert back to what we do, and that's look after our juniors, provide quality environment. Farmers comment about Imperials. I was lucky enough to do and feel the same, and they are like that. They are a culture of just it's success and nothing else on field. And loved it and learned a lot from a place like that. But it's Onkers is just it's just that type of environment. We unfortunately for us, on field success just hasn't happened.
I remember when Gumaraka broke the drought there, and the great Ian Carpenter from out there, and it was great to see them win their first flag since when he played back in '84, strangely enough.
Yeah.
And you probably got the same idea, Farm. It's great to get together and celebrate with his teammates what you did, but you probably get sick of being the last premiership player. So you want to hand over the status to the next generation.
For sure.
Sure. I remember last year when the boys got beaten at Nan in the A grade in the final, and without treading on Watsy's toes, I just asked if I could quickly just chat to him, and not for anything else, but just to say as president I was proud of him. We made the finals, but I just said enough is enough, boys. Like next year we get to celebrate 30 years since great thing for me personally and my mates and that we've settled in the Fred, but enough is enough. It is time we stepped up to the plate and won another one. And we're trying to do that. So we've got a lot of work to do.
Get your tips for the coming round, if that's all right. But just before we do that, how do you go about changing the culture that Simon suggested might exist? Not putting you on the spot as the president.
Or just adding that extra
bit of
on.
Yeah.
You know, you said you got it there. How do we get that?
Yeah, it's not easy. You know, we could throw the rule books out the window and go and just sell the soul and go and buy 6, 8, 10 players and go for it and win it. But where does it leave these boys sitting out the back? You know, where does it leave? You know, it's hard out there, and I'm not. And by saying this, I'm not blaming anyone or looking at anything. But 3 years ago, you know, and I mentioned before, the Bridgewater Raiders were playing Div 1, won first 7 games of the year in Div 1 footy, and thought, how good's this? How easy? You know, we're flying. But for whatever reason, I mean, 3 years later, it's just such a sad situation. So I think you just got to be careful. You just got to be really careful about the base of your football club and what it's built on. And while I'm, you know, there's a half of me that's saying I'd love to win a flag and we need to do it, and we do. There's another half that goes, you know what, we also need to make sure that we provide a responsible club for our community for the long-term future after me and Farmer and all us are out of there. And, you know, hopefully in many decades, my lad can be sitting here as president and whatever, and played 300 games, and Teddy, and you know, that's what we hope and we want our club to be doing.
Fantastic. Well, it's a good competition at the moment. Of course, Harndorf sitting on 7 wins, Nan Bremer on 5, Lofty on 5, Mounts on 4. Then we have Uradler, Onkers and Lobe all on 3 wins apiece. So getting towards that stage of the season where wins will be important. So we'll look at this week's round of matches, and if we can get your tips. That's right. Okay, Mount Lofty hosting a Chunga. How do you see this one, Farmer? At Goat Park?
Mount Lofty.
Yep.
Yeah. Mount Lofty are. I actually wasn't at the game against Onkers the other week, but they've improved, and Boards has done a really good job with them. Our fellow past commentator that we used to deal with.
Yes.
But no, he's done a really good job. So Lofty.
Yeah, Lofty. I think the Devils. Blackwood. Of course, a change of coach recently, but they're hosting Nan Bremer over at Windy Hill, where they're always a little bit harder to beat. And they put up a pretty good effort against Harndorf last round.
Yeah, Nan for me. I think they're
the same. Yep.
Yeah, they're on their way back and doing well. So
Nan for me.
Okay, the Call of the Wild game, and just up the road from where you guys will be, Uraida Districts take on Mount Barker. These two sides have had a great rivalry over the 57 years of the Hills Football League. And Uraida, you just get the idea, it's like a good racehorse, which you'd be familiar with. Just setting themselves for the Spring Carnival, but they need to win this one. And Mounts really haven't that good a record over the Cabbage Patch.
Yeah, probably the closest game of the weekend, I would have thought. Could go either way. Mount Lofty on the improve. Sorry, Mount Barker on the improve. Probably Roos.
Roos? Yeah, I'll go Roos.
Yeah, I think I'll have to go with the Roos. Just a little bit better. But Call of the Wild, you'll be able to watch that from 2 o'clock Saturday. Well, brings us to the game. I want to ask you, if you're going to win, how are you going to win? Onkaparinga Valley, 30th anniversary. It'd be great if it was the same result as 30 years ago. Maybe you two blokes sitting on the bench. But how do you think it'll go?
Oh, look, to be fair, we're struggling a bit. And, you know, Harndorf, they're just so strong and going really well. I'd love to see our guys get up. Hopefully, somehow, somewhere, they can find some motivation to pick himself up and get back into some form. But, you know, we've got a few kids playing. We've got, we're just not travelling well at the moment. So it'll be a battle. But fingers crossed on the day. You never know. We had a reunion. I can remember a reunion a while ago. Harndorf were in the same predicament. And we were down the bottom and we got up and beat them, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So who knows?
Correct.
Just the spirit of yesteryear.
You never know, mate. You never know.
20, 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds just pushing the barrel.
That's right. Hey, just quickly, the country division, your old mate Spender, Adam Penny, Torrens Valley hosting Birdwood. Could be a good game, the two neighbouring sides.
Could be. What's Torrens Valley? What's going on? I've got to have a chat with Spender because it's just not going the way I thought it would. Needs a rocket. Well, maybe I won't catch up with you. Yeah, but good luck to Birdwood. They're chipping away up there. But
yeah, Birdwood.
And another game, this should be a rip snorter. Kangarilla hosting Meadows. Meadows starting off pretty well, but they've had a few hurdles.
Good rivalry.
Down
Well,
at Kangaroo, they love each other. Pretty
If the
well.
3 limousines play for Meadows, are they playing this weekend?
Well, who knows?
Well, if the limos turn
I
up,
can't tell you till 1 o'clock.
that's the
Saturday
thing.
arvo,
If
so
the limos turn up, I don't think they're beatable.
you can see why it's a tipster's nightmare.
It is, isn't it? Who
well,
knows what you're going to get?
Toss of the coin. I'll go kangaroo.
I reckon Kangaroo, all right. Hey, fantastic, mate.
Thank you very much.
Good on you guys.
Mate,
Thank
and I
you.
tell you what, we have our Huddle Heroes Hall of Fame. We might go and get this colourised
Yep, get it signed.
and get it signed by you and put it up there because it is a classic mark. How high you reckon you get these days, mate?
Not that high.
All right, Simon Masters, Shane Collins, thanks very much for joining us. Have a great time. Most of the guys coming?
Yeah. Well, I think we're about 16
That's
of the
fantastic,
team.
mate. That's really
We obviously,
Yeah.
we've most of them are coming. A couple are away, and obviously
Yeah.
last year we unfortunately lost our first one with Scooter.
That's a
So
great turnout, and
it's going to be
no
excellent.
doubt by that mark will be absolutely huge by the end of the night again. And
Yeah.
your goals, you probably should have kicked 10
Well,
instead of
that's
Two or
all right.
and
three
you
we've been
stolen one,
Yeah.
eh? Got one chipped.
No, we'll probably kick 6 by the Saturday night. So.
No, guys, it's always
Thank
great
you.
to catch
No,
up
all
to you,
good.
mate. So
Well done.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks
Cheers.
very much for joining us on the Huddle. Benny, well
Yep.
done.
Looking forward to
Yep.
looking back with Brendan coming up very shortly, about 6 odd minutes. So that's a
Yeah,
wrap. Thanks
that
very
is a
much.
wrap. So thanks for joining us on the Huddle. We'll catch you next week, and we'll catch you for the quarter while from 2 p.m. But until we talk again, keep chasing the goals. Bye for now.
See ya.
Uh,
There's